Hey everyone, and welcome to this One Fish Guide Expert Care Explainer. Today, we're diving into an absolute classic of the freshwater aquarium hobby, the Harlequin Rasbora. I mean, if you've ever walked past a display tank and just been totally captivated by a shimmering school of copper and black darting around, yeah, chances are you were looking at these stunning little guys. But here's the thing, bringing them home, that's really just step one. Today, we're going for a complete masterclass in their care. We're going to move way beyond just keeping them alive, and we're going to learn exactly how to create an environment where they absolutely flourish. Let's get into it. So, here is our roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll meet the Harlequin Rasbora, then contrast minimum setups with truly thriving environments. After that, we'll cover perfecting your water quality, diet and disease prevention, choosing peaceful tank mates, and finally, breeding and long-term welfare. All right, part one. Meet the Harlequin Rasbora. To really get what makes these fish tick, you have to understand where they come from, the peat swamps and forest streams of Southeast Asia. We're talking places like Singapore, Malaysia, Sumatra, and southern Thailand. In the wild, their home is naturally shaded by this incredibly dense forest canopy and thick vegetation along the banks. The water itself, it's actually stained a yellowish brown from decaying organic matter, like fallen leaves and twigs, kind of like a giant natural tea bag. If you can replicate that dimly lit, heavily vegetated, low-flow vibe in your home aquarium, you are giving them the ultimate sense of security. Seriously, you're already halfway to success.
As for their signature look, it's unmistakable. You're looking for this vibrant copper orange or sometimes pinkish body, famously sporting a dark wedge-shaped marking right on the back half of their flank. It stretches from the dorsal fin and points straight back toward the tail. And here is a cool pro tip. If you want to know if you're looking at a male or a female, just pay close attention to that wedge. Males generally boast a sharper, better defined outline with a slightly rounded extension down at the bottom edge. Females, on the other hand, usually have a straighter edge to their wedge and, a rounder, slightly thicker belly.
So how big do they actually get? 2 inches. That's it. Keep that number locked in your mind because their maximum adult size literally dictates everything else we're going to talk about today. From the footprint of the tank you choose, to the filtration you run, right down to the companions you select, the whole shebang revolves around accommodating a tiny, super active 2-inch micropredator.
Moving on to section 2, minimums versus thriving environments. Okay, so there's an absolute bare minimum for keeping them alive, and then there's the spacious environment they actually need. Now, can a small group of 6 survive in a basic 10-gallon tank? Well, yes, technically. But for true long-term welfare, you really want a 20-gallon long tank. That means an aquarium that spans at least 36 inches in length. Why does that matter? Because these guys are incredibly active schooling fish, and they love zipping around the mid to upper levels of the water column. They absolutely need that horizontal swimming space. Plus, bumping your school up to 8, 10, or even more individuals in a larger, planted tank lets them show off their spectacular, natural schooling behaviors without feeling cramped or stressed out.
If you want to recreate that beautiful peat swamp environment we talked about earlier, you're going to want to pull in these specific elements. Start off with a dark, soft sand or gravel substrate. Actually, darker backgrounds will make their bright copper colors pop beautifully. Then pack in dense live plants like cryptocrin or java fern and toss in some bogwood and dry leaf litter. Ketapong almond leaves are great for this. As the leaves slowly break down, they release beneficial tannins that perfectly simulate those wild blackwater streams. But arguably the most important element, floating plants. Floating vegetation diffuses the harsh light, casting these warm, natural shadows that give your Rasboras a massive confidence boost.
Which brings us to section 3, perfecting your water quality.
The absolute cornerstone of long-term welfare is maintaining immaculate, stable water chemistry. Now, there is some conflicting data out there, but we've resolved it to present this highly practical, conservative sweet spot for you. You'll want to aim for a nice tropical temperature between 72 and 81 degrees Fahrenheit. For pH, they lean towards slightly acidic to neutral water, so keeping it right between 6.0 and 7.5 is perfect. And for hardness, relatively soft water is best, anywhere from 2 to 12 DGH. Hitting these stable parameters doesn't just keep them safe, it practically guarantees they'll display their most intense, fiery coloration.
Now, when it comes to keeping that water clean, you've got to be a little careful with your filter choice. Yes, they need pristine water, but remember what we said about their natural habitat? They live in sluggish, slow-moving streams. They are not whitewater rafters. Powerful filtration systems that blast them with a heavy current will just exhaust them and cause immense stress. So aim for a filter that creates a gentle to moderate flow. Pair that gentle flow with regular maintenance, about 25% to 50% water changes monthly or smaller weekly changes if your tank is heavily stocked, and you will keep their environment totally pristine.
Let's move to Section 4, Diet and Disease Prevention. So Harlequin Rasboras are what we call omnivorous micropredators. Out in the wild, they're constantly snapping up tiny insects, worms, and zooplankton. To replicate this at home, the bulk of their diet, around 60%, should be a high-quality crushed flake or micropellet. But if you really want to see them thrive, you absolutely must supplement that core diet. Offering live or frozen treats like bloodworms, brine shrimp, or daphnia a few times a week is a game changer. This variety meets all their nutritional needs and really brings out their most spectacular colors. Just remember to feed them only what they can polish off in a few minutes so you don't end up fouling the water. But look, even with the best care in the world, things can occasionally slip. If your water quality drops, or if the fish are stressed, their immune systems take a hit. You need to be vigilant for these classic red flags. Ish, which literally looks like tiny grains of salt stuck to their body, fin rot, where you'll see ragged or discolored fin edges, or dropsy, which causes severe bodily swelling. Also, pay close attention to their behavior. If you see them constantly trembling, or if they just dart for the deep shadows the second the tank light turns on, they are severely stressed. If you spot any of these signs, immediately test your water, consider quarantining the sick fish, and jump straight into the appropriate treatment.
Section 5, choosing peaceful tank mates. Before you even start window shopping for other species, I want you to remember this number, 10. Or, okay, at the very least, 8. Keeping a solid school of at least 8 to 10 of their own kind is literally the single most important requirement for their confidence. If you only keep, say, 3 or 4, they're going to be timid, they're going to hide all day, and they'll be constantly stressed. It's the power of the school that makes them feel bold enough to swim openly in the midwater. Once you have that core school established, then we can talk about neighbors. Cory catfish are great because they just mind their own business down at the bottom. Neon and rummy-nosed tetras will peacefully share the mid-water space. Small gouramis, like the honey or dwarf varieties, make fantastic gentle centerpiece fish. Cherry barns add a really similar peaceful active dynamic. And hey, even snails and shrimp work wonderfully. These specific companions are perfect because they share the same water parameter needs, they have peaceful temperaments, and they aren't going to aggressively outcompete your Rasboras when it's feeding time.
On the flip side, you have to be ruthless about filtering out bad tank mates. Never, ever introduce large cichlids, aggressive predators, or incredibly boisterous hyperactive fish. Think back to that number earlier. Our Harlequins max out at 2 inches. To a bigger fish, a 2-inch Rasbora is nothing but an expensive snack. And honestly, even if the larger fish doesn't eat them, the constant harassment and stress will force the Rasboras into hiding permanently. That inevitably leads to a failure to thrive and a premature death. Just don't do it.
Finally, we've reached Section 6, breeding and long-term welfare. This is one of the coolest things about them. It brilliantly illustrates their unique reproductive strategy. Most small cyprinids in the hobby just sort of scatter their eggs randomly across the gravel and hope for the best. Not the Harlequin Rasbora. They are open water egg layers, but with this incredible twist. The mating pair will actually swim upside down and carefully stick their eggs to the underside of a broadleaf. It's amazing to watch. And it proves exactly why having live broadleafed plants like cryptococcine or anubias is an absolute must if you want to witness these fascinating natural spawning behaviors.
Now, breeding them isn't exactly a walk in the park, but if you do want to raise fry, you'll need to follow these exact steps. First up, condition your adults by feeding them a super rich diet of live and frozen foods multiple times a day for a few weeks. Second, set up a dedicated, very dimly lit breeding tank. You want the water noticeably softer and more acidic than your main tank? Try dropping the pH down to between 5.3 and 6.0. Third, introduce your well-conditioned pair in the evening. The male will start this beautiful courtship dance, nudging the female until they invert under a leaf to spawn. And step 4, it is critical. You must remove the parents immediately after they spawn because, well, they will absolutely turn around and eat their own eggs if you leave them in there.
When you put all of these pieces together, when you make the leap from a 10-gallon survival puddle to a 20-gallon planted paradise, when you keep that water stable and soft, and when you feed them a varied, top-tier diet, the results are just undeniable. By elevating your husbandry, you aren't just getting a pretty fish to look at for a few months. You are earning the privilege of enjoying these captivating, interactive pets for a full 5 to 8 years. For a fish this small, that is a fantastic lifespan.
So I'm gonna leave you with this final thought. Take a really close look at your current setup. Are you just hitting the bare minimums, or are you actually providing an enriching environment? Whether it's finally adding some floating plants to diffuse the harsh light, swapping out that basic flake food for some frozen bloodworms, or maybe finally upgrading them to that longer tank so they can stretch their fins, what is one upgrade you can make today to help your Harlequin Rasboras truly thrive? Start there and just watch your aquarium transform. Thanks so much for joining me on this One Fish Guide explainer, and happy fish keeping.